source for all of the latest
in Philadelphia sports,
whether it's breaking news
or highlights from the game.
Comcast Sportsnet
keeps you up to date.
When I'm at home relaxing, things are a little down, through looking through my playbook, I sit back and watch Comcast Sportsnet.
Totally Philly,
totally sports.
'76ers basketball on Comcast Sportsnet is being brought to you in part by Dodge. In a perfect world, everything would be different. By Mountain Dew, who reminds you to do the do. And by your local Delaware Valley Volvo dealer. Volvo for life.
Let's go back and take a look at that last play. Watch Jermaine Jones. He's going to come over here to leave the open passing lane. And then here, right here, Matt Geiger guarding Dampier. Because that lane is open, let's take a look at that last play. 1.7 seconds left to go. Jamison with the ball. Take a look. Here comes Jones out. Opens up the passing lane. Right off the rear end of Matt Geiger for the easy deuce.
Ball with D. Lynham. And Steve Nicks marks him off tonight. Second quarter underway. Sixers and the Warriors. And at halftime, Charles Barkley's number 34 to be retired. Allen Iverson, his third field goal in 11 attempts. He is 6 for 6 from the line. He's got 12 of the Sixers' 25. The Warriors running Blaylock along with Cummings. Jamison. And Corey Blunt forwards. And in the middle is Eric Dampier, who has it now against Geiger. Working to give and go with Cummings. Tyrone Hill continues to clean glass here in the first half. He's got 7 boards. Sixers running Iverson with Ollie. Geiger here in the middle with Hill and Jones. Matt trying to set up Dampier, but will have none of it. Ollie, and a blocking foul is called on Jamison, his second. Steve Nicks, Charles Barkley's got his imitators.
Little G rising up, throwing it down. Yeah, just like Charlie would do. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Geiger. Matt the other night. One of the best games in the season for him. 11 points, 8 boards, and a 19-minute run against the Magic. Iverson watching Cummings. Blaylock tees up a 3. Never bashful in terms of shooting 3-pointers. Throughout his career, one of the few in the NBA with more than 1,000 makes for his career. Hill, nicely done, working over Dampier's second field goal. He's got 6.
Tyrone Hill getting the big guy moving left and right. And then the up and under off the pump fake. Nice move by Tyrone.
Hill averaging 9.5 and 9 boards. Dampier moves on Geiger. Keith Kantner with a call on Matt. First on Matt.
Well, did Hip Hop? Where's Hip Hop? There he is with the helping hand. Getting little G up 10 feet off the floorboards. Yeah. Go ahead, little G. You the man.
Warriors here with 5 to shoot. Cummings working over Snow, who's come on for Iverson. Corey Blunt, his specialty's always been rebounding. Here come the Sixers. Eric Snow takes Blaylock, and he has his way for Eric, his second field goal. And he now is the second leading scorer on the team in the absence of Aaron McKee, averaging 10 per night. The Sixer lead at 10 now. Their largest. Nicely done by Jamison.
Got a lot of stuff around the low post area, doesn't he? Off that big block and spin to the baseline. Nice little jump hook. Catching George Lynch on the baseline side.
Biggest improvement in his game has been the outside part of his game. The jumper falling consistently throughout the year as Sixers look inside for Geiger, and instead we have a foul coming up. Dampier called for number 2. And it's the second on the team. Chris Porter, who was shaken up earlier, is back, and he's in to get Blaylock. Sits with 4. Aaron McKie sitting out this one at least with a sprained right knee. He is game to game right now. Missed another game earlier in the year. That was in early November because of a strained back. Rodney Buford has really struggled lately. The Sheriff is in. He sets up Geiger. Good way to get involved early.
Yeah, it really is. A shooting lane closed up, find the open man. Matt Geiger taking it to the hoop. Nice to see Matt get on the board.
Matt now the leading scorer off the bench. The absence of McKie. Dealing with Dampier, who is a load at around 270.
You can't give him that though. That was way too easy. One or two dribbles in the middle, then the spin move and the large dunk.
Jones over Jamison. Well, clearly, as the season goes, we continue to see the improvement in the jumper of JJ. Averaging only 4, but getting a lot of minutes lately. And making good. Dealing with Jamison, and that's Geiger for the Sixers. Lead by 10. And Larry Brown calling for a timeout. It comes with just over 4 minutes gone in the second. Club for Dodge presents 76ers post-game live after the game exclusively on Comcast Sportsnet.
This is atrocious. I'm not on the 100 most powerful men in sports. This is ridiculous.
Charles should take solace, partner. He is the most powerful man in this building, certainly, tonight.
That's why the building is packed tonight against the Warriors, the lowly Warriors.
Here are the Sixers now out of the timeout. Eric Snow, tough shot. Geiger trying to guide it in. Sixers by 10 with 4 and change gone here in the second. Cummings stripped en route to the hoop, and the Warriors will keep it. Golden State in all has lost an astounding 26 of their last 29, and now they're here in Philadelphia for Charles Barkley night at number 34 to be retired at halftime. What promises to be a stirring ceremony. Cummings, his second field goal for 4. He averages 6 in 20 minutes per night. At a career high 23 against the Sixers in Oakland last year, including 5 3-pointers in the game. He is an average 3-point shooter this year. Buford. Rodney Buford hasn't scored in 4 straight and 5 of his last 6.
And there's a guy struggling with his shot, no question about it. The last 7 games for Buford, just 6 of 30, 20% from the floor.
Rodney Buford called for the personal foul. Rodney his first, and 2 on each team. The Warriors' only wins during the 29-game stretch. The Clippers at Chicago and home against Detroit. At one point during that stretch, they lost a season-high 11 straight. 5 to shoot for Jamison. That's Jones for the Sixers. Lead by 8. Jermaine Jones hitting 2 straight jumpers. He's got 4. That's his average. At 13 and 7 boards. Wednesday night against the Orlando Magic. Blunt steps away and strokes 2. Corey Blunt with his 5th NBA team in 8 years.
Coming out of Cincinnati, I thought he'd be a little bit better and have a little bit more intensity than he's shown. Although I think on a good team, I think he'll be all right. He just needs to get with the right team, be a good backup for somebody.
Buford stripped en route to the hoop. And the personal foul on Tigo Cummings. We have a timeout with the 76ers leading the Warriors right now by 8. It is Charles Barkley night in all its glory. And coming up at halftime, the Charles Barkley tribute, the retirement of his number 34. With more on that, here's D-Line.
So, you know, jerseys are retired as an act of thanks and acknowledgement. Tonight, the Sixers saying, thank you, Sir Charles, for some of the great years in this franchise's history, and acknowledging his talents is not only amazing, but also unique. For Charles, this day, it represents a multitude of things.
I've already achieved things in my life that I can never recapture. I can never recapture the success and the enjoyment I've had playing in Philadelphia or Houston or Phoenix. And as you get older, some people say life gets better, but that's not true. My life, this was the greatest time in my life when I was here in Philadelphia, and I enjoyed it.
There's a kid probably in the stands up there tonight that's going to say, Dad, who was Charles Barkley? You might be 3, you might be 4. What would you want that father to say?
Just say he was a basketball player, and he was a really good basketball player. That's what I was. I never felt like you put athletes like they're the greatest thing in the world. We are where we are. I was a very good basketball player. I worked really hard at what I did, and that's who I am and what I am.
And just the thought on being out there, the place will give you a standing O. It's where it all began, and for right now, this is where it ends.
Yeah, that gives me special pride and joy to Philadelphia does, because it's where it started. They gave me an opportunity, and it was great for me. It was tough at the time because I was young and hadn't really been through this type of environment before, but it was a blessing in disguise.
Mark, it'll be interesting to see at halftime. I think you know that the career is over, but when you see it all on video, the jersey goes up there. It'll be interesting to see how Charles handles it emotionally.
The nostalgia will clearly reign at halftime. 8 years for Sir Charles in Philadelphia. And he says the 8 years here versus the 4 in Phoenix and the 4 in Houston were his best in terms of his production as a player. Here the Sixers out of the timeout. Only 3 to shoot. Eric Snow rolling in. It would have counted. Now we have a foul coming up on Antoine Jamison. Their starts, personal number 3. It's also the 4th on the team. Allen Iverson, by the way, continues to get a fairly lengthy rest here on the bench as Eric Snow stepping to the stripe for the first time tonight. And even as we speak, guess I'm on the same wavelength as the coach, partner. That's pretty strange for a guy like me.
That's a rarity. Might be on the same page, but totally different books and libraries, I think, sometimes.
Usually, Steve, as you know, different planets. Jermaine Jones getting a rest. Productive, though, in 6 minutes. 4 points. 2 for 2 from the floor. Sixers now running Rodney Buford as a small forward. Sixer lead at 10 as we have passed the halfway point of this second quarter. Geiger in a post-war with Dampier. Iverson thinks about the double. And now as Dampier goes to work, Geiger is fingered for the personal foul. And that is 7.
Matt playing physical down here in the low post. Let's take a look as the ball's being entered. Take a look at that. That left arm locking Dampier. Called by the official. Matt trying to lock that arm up so that he can't create space.
Geiger will now find space on the bench. Dikembe Mutombo relieving him. Tyrone Hill back onto the floor. He's in for George Lynch. And that's Iverson. Now with 7 rebounds in the game.
Well, there's a lot of them to be had if you hang around the defensive boards.
Good
Worst shooting team in the NBA.
Tyrone from Hill Country, his 3rd field goal. He's got 8 to go along with his 7 rebounds. Sixer lead now, it's largest at a dozen. Eric Dampier. Good low post game. Came from Indiana in a trade with Chris Mullin. Mullin, by the way, is on the Warriors roster. Barely getting a sniff this year. He's been injured throughout most of the season. And a good chance could be his last season.
would
with
think
Golden
that
State Warriors.
I would think that they would try to, Golden State would try to unload Dampier if they could next season. It makes an awful lot of money, but I don't know if they can trade him. I don't know who you could package with him as well.
Dampier, though often injured in his last 3 years, nonetheless a big body, which is a valuable commodity in the NBA. Speaking of which, Dikembe Mutombo getting another. Well, the Sixers apparently heeding the concerns that were said the other night after they shot so poorly from the line.
Free throw shooting drills and passing drills. Try to make sure when you make a pass, guy coming off the screen, you hit him right in the shooting pocket. I didn't see a whole lot of that happening the other night against Orlando.
Dampier just pulls his way on Mutombo and has his way. So Eric Dampier now with his third field goal for 6. Getting back to the Sixer foul shooting, they're 13 for 14. The Sixers have only 2 turnovers. Iverson, that's for 3. And again, over the backboard and out of bounds. The teams combining on 0 for 6 from beyond, and Allen a cumulative 3 for 12 from the floor. Sixer advantage at 10. The Warriors sense a source of points at Dampier, so they go back to that well. So this time it's Buford recouping his miss. Mutombo looks to answer back. Beautifully done by Deep. His third field goal. He's got 9, 1 below his season's average.
Let's see if Golden State goes back down to Dampier in the low post.
Laylock for 3. Allen Iverson's got 8 rebounds. Leaves for Buford. Almost a gorgeous finish. Sixers, though, here with a fresh 24. It's Iverson for 2. Hill, another rebound. That's 9. And calm is restored by Eric Snow. The game is stopped by Larry Brown calling and getting the timeout. 3:04 to play in the first half. What's the best way to get a playoff strip of tickets? It's easy. Put a deposit down on a 76ers season ticket for next year, then get your playoff tickets. How do you do it? Call 215-339-7676, and you can do it right now. Season ticket representatives standing by. 215-339-7676. Earlier, the official scores here, just as a joke, added number 34 to the box score. And it looks good, even if it is just for fun. Here are the Sixers in all seriousness out of the timeout. Iverson fading from Dampier. Laylock, his 4th rebound for the Warriors.
Allen just 3 for 14. The rest of the team 12 for 22. Might be one of those nights where you just kind of say, you know what, let's get everybody else involved. We're going to win the ball game anyway. Everybody else is going to have a chance to win this game for us.
Corey Blunt averaging 4, but has improved his scoring with the Warriors, averaging 6. He was acquired from Phoenix in a trade in January for Vinny Del Negro. Mutombo looking frisky tonight, denied by Dampier. Cummings tracked by Iverson. Blunt. Now Mutombo lost it out of bounds. It'll go back to the Golden State Warriors. The Sixer lead at 10 and just over 2 minutes to go before our very special halftime. The number retirement for number 34, Charles Barkley. Laylock in for Dampier. Mutombo fouls him en route to the hoop. Sadiq only his first and the 4th on the team. Dampier will head to the line for a pair. Jermaine Jones, his 2nd first half appearance, in to get Rodney Buford. Scoreless once again in 7 minutes. So Rodney now with his 2 misses tonight, 0 for his last 14. over 4.5 games. Had a terrific game during the Sixers' recent West Coast trip in Seattle. 11 days ago, he had 12 points, including a couple of three-pointers. Dampier with 8 in a 13-minute run off the bench.
Sure, pretty much attacking the OK Corral with empty guns, isn't he?
Indeed. As the backdoor play, Snow en route to Hill. Sixers turn it over, only their third.
Not as much pressure on the 76ers tonight than Orlando was, but in our Orlando game, just a lot of bad passes flying up into the stands, everything else. 76ers taking care of the basketball tonight, as you said, Mark.
Blaylock with 3 to shoot. It'll have to be Cummings. And that's Mutombo for the Sixers, who lead by 8. Iverson a streak to the goal. And he got 2 as he just flew by Blaylock. Allen now his 4th field goal. He's got 14 and the 8 rebounds. And there Allen nearly came up with the pick. And he was headed with his eyes on the prize. Iverson, his season and career high rebounding, 10. He's got 8 to go along with his 14 points. We have a timeout now with 1:11 to play for the break.
Watch Allen. Great pass by Eric Snow. He's just going to blow by Blaylock. Comes down awkwardly and then holds that left hip as he's running down the court. You can see the speed and quickness that Allen has as he was just blowing by Mookie as he comes down right there holding that left hip. Hopefully he didn't strain that thing again.
Oh, hopefully. If not his left hip, then such a bronchitis, which really affected him for the Orlando game. At a temperature of about 101 on the trainer's table, having his temperature taken right before game time. Here are the Warriors out of the timeout. Chris Porter, his 2nd field goal for 4. A late 2nd round pick of the Warriors. Under a minute now to go before the break. Mutombo, and that's Blaylock. The Warriors, if they work it right, can have themselves a 2-for-1. Oh, there's Cummings, and he's fouled by Mutombo. He'll get 1 more. Montego Cummings now ahead of the line looking for the 3-point play.
Well, that's a nice play by Cummings. Now take a look at him as he's getting ready to go to the hoop. Nice cut there. Leans in, draws the contact. One thing you want to make sure, and I talked to everybody at our camps about and everybody else, when you're going to the hoop, look to draw that contact minimum. Get to the line.
Good job by the Warriors bench. 19-6 outscoring the Sixers bench. And now the Sixer advantage cut to 5. The Sixers here can work the 2-for-1. Iverson splitting the D. Now a jailbreak for the Warriors. Cummings, and there's Snow to make mischief and break it up. Jones flies in, but he misses the slam. Porter's got Blaylock, and there it is. The Sixer lead, as large as a dozen, is down to 3. An 11-2 Golden State run. Now the shot clock unplugged. Jones with 6 to go, denied and fouled by Cummings. And with the Warriors in the penalty as Cummings picks up number 3. Jermaine Jones will go to the line for the first time tonight.
Jermaine Jones is going to end up missing this dunk as he had to go over the top of Foyle, and then on the other end there's a fast break opportunity for Golden State as Mookie hanging back a little bit gets the layup. Jermaine Jones makes that first one. 76ers up 4.
George Lynch in to get Kembe Mutombo.
Good move by Larry Brown trying to protect Mutombo. Doesn't want him to pick up another cheap one.
Jones is good on 2. The leading scorer off the bench now with 6. 3 seconds for the Warriors. Blaylock blocked by Iverson. It looked from here, and that'll do it. So good defense by Allen on Blaylock at the end of the first half. Coming up, a celebration of Charles Barkley, the ultimate team honor. His number 34 officially to be retired. Halftime tonight on Comcast Sportsnet. It's the 76ers 47 and the Golden State Warriors 42. Due ceremony after this.
Game coverage live from the Courtside Club for Dodge presents Sixers Postgame Live tonight only on Comcast Sportsnet.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to officially retire the number 34 in honor of Charles Barkley.
The 76ers select Charles Barkley of Auburn University.
As he's making his move. Cheeks took it.
I felt like I'll always be a 76er deep in my heart. If I'm fortunate enough to go to Hall of Fame, it will be as a 76er.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kenny Rogers. Kenny Rogers. Ladies and gentlemen, a large part of Charles Barkley's world is with us tonight. Allow me to introduce those who are sitting here on the floor with him. First, a couple of fine ladies from Leeds, Alabama, Charles' grandmother, Johnny Mickens. And Charles' mother, Charcy Glenn. Next, his wonderful wife, a Bucks County girl, Maureen Barkley. And daughter, Christiana Barkley. The man who scouted Charles Barkley and told everybody he'd be a great player. We affectionately called him Uncle Jack McMahon. His wife is here tonight for the late Jack McMahon, Kay McMahon. The equipment man for the '83 champion Sixers and longtime Sixers staffer Jeff Millman. The longest-tenured Sixer employee and longtime Charles confidant, now the director of traveling team services, Alan Lumpkin. The team senior vice president, whose friendship with Charles goes back a long ways, Dave Koski. The trainer for both the 67 and 83 title teams, Al Domenico.
The coach of the last division winners, the 1990 76ers, Jimmy Lynam. The setter for the 1990 Atlantic Division champions, Mike Jaminski. The power forward on that 90 team and the bump to Barkley's thump, Red Mahal. A member of the 83 World Champions and one of the greatest point guards in NBA history, Maurice. The man who led the Sixers to the promised land and was just nominated to the Basketball Hall of Fame, Moses Malone. A champion Sixer is a player, a champion Sixer is a coach, and a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame, the Kangaroo Kid, Billy Cunningham. And the esteemed president of the Philadelphia 76ers, who is ready to lead that parade down Broad Street, Pat Croce. Charles Barkley!
He's in the house! And it's a special night for the city of Philadelphia because we are here to honor one of the great ones. Charles never wanted to be a role model, never thought of himself as a role model. But for me and millions of fans like me, Charles was a great example of what passion, determination, and a positive attitude can achieve. We all witnessed Charles Barkley win the NBA rebound title over players almost a foot taller. Why? Charles says because he wanted it more than anyone else. It's Charles Barkley we're here to honor. Let's hear it for Charles. I want to thank you for the excitement and entertainment you brought to our team and our city. I want to thank you for wearing the 76ers jacket when you were inducted to be one of the 50 greatest players in the NBA. And most importantly, Charles, I want to thank you for being you. On behalf of Comcast Spectacor and the Philadelphia 76ers, I would like to give you a present, a token of our appreciation. To unveil our gift tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give a warm welcome for the world's most famous sports artist, Leroy Neiman. Go ahead, Charles. Charles, and you. Thank you, Leroy. And now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the man who won a Sixers championship as a player, the man who won a Sixers championship as a coach, and the man who won our hearts once again when he chose Charles Barkley in the NBA draft. Please welcome Billy Cunningham.
Thank you, Pat. I'm a little low-key than Pat. But it's just so wonderful to be here, see so many familiar faces. People that I remember even from back in Convention Hall are still here. What great fans we have here in Philadelphia. And, of course, it's always great to see these two guys who are truly special and always will be in my heart. But the reason we're here tonight is about this young man right next to me here, Charles Barkley. And just, go ahead. And I remember so clearly before that year in the draft, we were competing for a playoff spot, and Lord rest his soul, Jack McMahon and Harold Katz came to me and said, boy, it looks like we're going to get a chance to draft this kid from Auburn. I said, well, tell me something about him. I'm watching all the pro games. He said, well, he's 6'4", maybe a little bit more. He weighs 282 pounds. I said, what are you, crazy? I said, well, where does he play? Oh, he's a power forward. Oh, okay. I'm thinking of Kevin McHale, 7 feet tall, and a guy 6'4" going to be playing Kevin McHale. So then I got a chance to watch Charles play against Kentucky. And at that time, if you remember, they had 2 7-footers, Sam Bowie and Mel Turpin, I think it was on the team. And the game was on a Saturday afternoon, I think, at UK. And I saw this guy dominate the game against 2 7-footers. And you could see that he had something special, not only as a basketball player, but in here, that the game was very important and he had a passion for it. And that's so important. And then we got the chance to draft Charles. Charles comes to Philadelphia. Well, as these two guys will remember, we go to practice, and Charles didn't like to run back on defense. And it was really a challenge for him to get to half court. So I said, well, I think we're going to have to start closing practices. And we hadn't closed practice my first 7 years. But I'd like to say that the happiest man in Philadelphia to see Charles come to Philadelphia and play was Andrew Toney. Because I couldn't yell at him, I had to worry about Charles. But Charles, just looking at the career, and then you went from 282 down into the 250s, and you were so driven in your abilities as a player and what you've achieved from being all-pro, all-star, dream team, as Pat said, one of the 50 greatest players of all time, and only one thing left, the Hall of Fame. And believe it or not, Charles, a few years after coaching, when I retired, one of the things I missed was the challenge to coach you a few more years. Because I'll tell you why. Because you knew there was great talent, great ability. And the greatest thing you can achieve as a coach is seeing someone fulfill their abilities as a player and as a team. And Charles obviously didn't need me because of what he went on to achieve. But Charles, from the bottom of my heart, thanks for the wonderful years playing not only here in Philadelphia, everywhere else. And I hope you and your family, and by the way, before I go any further, your mom told me don't be mad, don't be nasty to him because Charles will get the phone last, right, Mom? And Charles, I just hope you and your family that you find the joy and find something with the passion that will fill this void of basketball that has given you such a wonderful life. And I'm so proud to not only know you as a player, but also as a friend. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as Charles Barkley would tell you, it ain't about the numbers. It's about pride and passion. It's about heart and soul. It's about emotion. It's about being named one of the top 50 players in NBA history and accepting that award as a Sixer. It's about saying that when I go into the Hall of Fame, I will go in as a Sixer. It's about being here tonight and in your deepest heart of hearts, being a Sixer. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the one and only Sir Charles Wade Barkley.
Hey, I want you guys to know something. This is one of the greatest nights of my life, and I'm honored to share it with you guys. Kenny Rogers, a great friend of mine, thank you for coming. Mr. Neiman, thank you very much. The best coach I said I ever played for was Jimmy Lynam. Ms. McMahon, your husband was right on two things. He said I was going to turn out to be a really good player because the Sixers said I was too short, that I couldn't stop anybody. He said they couldn't stop me. He was right on both accounts. Al Domenico, thank you for being the best trainer. Mike Jaminski and Rick Mahorn. Best front line that I ever played with, and I love you guys like brothers to the day I die. Dave Koski, probably the best person I've met since I've been in professional sports, and the Sixers are lucky to have him. I know you other guys don't know who he is, but he's just the greatest person in the Sixers organization. I'm going to leave you four out. Alan Lumpkin, Jeff Millman, they've been there the whole time with me. Thank you very much for the friendship. Moses Malone. I call Moses Dad because he's the most influential person in my basketball life. He taught me how to work hard, and told me how to learn to be professional on the court and sometimes off the court, and I love you, Dad. Yeah. Maurice Cheeks. Hey, I got spoiled playing with Maurice Cheeks because people ask me, there's never been a better point guard in the NBA than Maurice Cheeks. And I say that with great honesty. The point guard is the most important person on a basketball team because they have the ball all the time. They have to get it to the right guys. I never saw him make a mistake. He was perfect. I really needed Billy Cunningham when I came into the league because he was strict, taught me discipline, and he got my fat butt in shape. Hey, Pat Croce. It's very short. He's the best owner in sports. I really enjoy seeing all you guys because you guys have been with me through the entire journey. And I thank y'all very much for sharing this with me. I want y'all to know something, though. I don't recommend your first time Alabama coming to Philadelphia. It takes a little time. World, I love you, man. Hey, I need a favor. I need a favor from the crowd tonight. You got to do me this favor. There's one guy here who's not here, who I wanted to be here, but I didn't want to put him in an awkward situation. And please don't boo him. I want to give some gratitude to Harold Katz. And I tell y'all what, two things. I really can't tell you what tonight means to me because words do not do it justice. And if I'm fortunate and blessed enough to go in the Hall of Fame, it will be as a Sixer.
Charles Barkley, the time has come.
Right over here.
Charles Barkley, it is officially time to bring you home.
The number 34 officially hangs in the rafters in the First Union Center in honor of one Charles Barkley. Now meeting with the current group of 76ers after due ceremony here tonight.